This is the Illimitable Experience Podcast. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Illimitable Experience Podcast. If you're watching this video, like this video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to the channel. We are posting great content regularly. With that, today we have as our guest Prakhar Gupta. Hi Prakhar, how is it going?
Hi Manan, thank you for inviting me in this podcast. I'm doing very good right now. What about you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Prakhar, it's a pleasure to have you today. When I approached you on Instagram, seeing that you're on your profile that you're a professional violinist, my first assumption was that you are a full-time violinist. But then you broke a notion. So can you just introduce yourself, who you are and who you are, apart from a professional violinist?
So yes, I am actually a practicing chartered accountant, but also I am a professional violinist. So it's a mix of two very unconventionally not coming together things. So currently I am working in the project finance and debt syndication side of things on the CA side. And from the violinist side, I am basically active on social media via my Instagram channel and like trying to perform at various places and continuing this hobby, which I had inculcated over the last 10 to 12 years of my violin journey.
And well, you told me that you are a CA, and I was really surprised and to know that you're not only a CA, but you are a All India ranker in CPT and CA final as well. That was like the cherry on the top of the cake. कि ठीक है CA तो है, but ranker भी है. So you can imagine the two heavy pressures of getting a rank जो इतना studies होता है and between and learning violin जो दोनों manage करना है. It's like really commendable on your part.
Actually, the part of violin what actually helped me in my journey of CA, because कभी भी ऐसा लग रहा है that I'm like very stressful or like now studies तो हो ही नहीं रहा है. So in that case, just getting that shift from studying to playing violin for some time, although some time would always extend to 2 hours, 3 hours, though that really helped actually a lot to keep the pressure down, keep the stress down and everything.
Right.
And since like it's said that left side of the brain and right side of the brain somewhat get together, so violin actually trains my right side and CA trains my left side, so then they like get on together very well.
That's a great part that you brought up, the left side and the right side of the brain, because if I'm not wrong, the left side of the brain is concerned with logical thinking, and the right side of the brain is concerned with the creative aspect of everything.
Very true.
So that's was very scientific point you pointed out as well. Wow, we are so brilliant, fan. It's a CA final violinist in science as well. Prakhar, you are a professional violinist, but how did you get started with violin? Because in India, it is not a common sight to see people play violin. It is usually the Casio or piano or guitar. These things have been more common. तो ये violin कभी ऐसा interest हुआ कि चल violin सीखते हैं?
So actually, you rightly said that violin, at least in North India, it's very less heard of. South India may also still there's a culture of Carnatic music which is there, but yes, in the North or the Hindustani classical side, majorly it's either into singing or into harmoniums and all that thing in the classical side. And if you see it normally, the consensus it's like people are either playing piano or guitar, which you rightly said. But so my journey also started like that only. First class में that was like थोड़ी कोई सी हॉबी चालू करनी चाहिए तो लेट्स पुट हिम इन अ म्यूजिक क्लास सो आई स्टार्टेड लर्निंग केसियो but I was never really interested in playing that. I was like please bajana hai, like it's not that good, and us time pe it was not like we are playing from both hands itne chote, so it was like only from one hand, so that was never my forte also and never my interested also. So as you rightly said that piano jo hai and guitar, these are basically those instruments which are generally sort of played by most of our young generation at least. So मेरा journey भी piano से start हुआ था, but I never really loved the thing कि यार ये मेरे को कभी बहुत ज़्यादा violin play करना है. So then what I decided was कि let's switch the instrument. तो मैंने कैसे वो करा, like first of all the teachers were not really keen on ki changing instrument, नहीं try वैसा. So then whenever I used to go to my class, then I would really, the MC which was there in the ground floor, I would really trip it. So जब मैं ऊपर जाता था तो there was no electricity, and so I would not play violin, play the piano. So then the teacher also understood कि हाँ ऐसा कुछ हो रहा है, तो फिर उन्होंने इंस्ट्रूमेंट चेंज कराया. सो देन इट वाज 50% पियानो एंड 50% मैंडोलिन. मैंडोलिन इज दैट इंस्ट्रूमेंट व्हिच वाज प्लेड बाय शाहरुख खान इन DDLG, that
DDL,
thing.
right.
That was there. So then I really started playing that for another 6 months. But then my sir, Manoj Patwadan sir, he actually played violin, and I was very intrigued by that. And although the violin itself was my height, it was like of my height. So it उनको ऐसा था कि if I had to play, then he would have to purchase a smaller one. So then मेरी जिद के पीछे then he finally had to purchase that, and then I started playing that. And within 6 months only, I was like really that good that कि अपन perform कर सकते हैं. So then I went to my school with the violin and वहाँ पे play करा, and everyone was like loving कि यार इस age पे he is playing such a good violin. And so वहाँ से then the journey of all the performances started. 6th class तक तो it was like I am playing a lot. हमारे school में ऐसा था कि there was a junior school and senior school. So 6th तक there was junior school, so I was senior there. So that was very good. But जैसे ही मैं 7th में आया, that journey immediately halted because in 7th I was like the junior in all the 7th to 12th class. And so then तीन चार साल में ऐसा हो गया कि पढ़ाई पे फोकस ज्यादा चले गया, and violin side focus थोड़ा कम हो गया. But then luckily 10th class तक when I reached, then जो वहाँ पे seniors थे who were actually playing the violin or all the other instruments, their orchestra was there. Everyone passed out in 1 year only. So then in 10th class it was like our entire music band was like at a halt. कि अब क्या करें? There is no one there. So then they tried to recruit new people then, and that is when I again came into the picture. And फिर हमारा 10th class में when the nationals were there, then it was like everyone was not expecting anything from our school. I was playing a solo, a जुगलबंदी and an orchestra there. तो हम गए वहाँ पे, तो generally it was like one of the person was there जो कि last 3 years से first आ रहे हैं from another school. तो they were like कि चलो यही जीतने वाला है इस बार, second third के लिए compete करते हैं. So similarly that happened, that thing was there कि अच्छा हाँ ये एक है यहाँ पे, let's start from the second से fight चालू करते हैं. But then eventually when the results came out, it came like third some other person, and second that guy came second then, and everyone was shocked कि वो क्या रहा है. And then at first my came name Prakhar Gupta. So that was the point where I thought कि नहीं हम कुछ हैं, ऐसा नहीं है.
Right. That's an amazing story, man. I mean, so क्या होता है कि sometimes whatever happens by an accident, right in your case, that you aren't a violinist by choice, you are a violinist by accident, क्योंकि तुझे वो पियानो चल नहीं रहा था इसलिए. So ऐसे situations में ऐसा होता है कि okay, suddenly you excel so much in that field that it comes as a shock to you कि oh ऐसा मैं ये था, because I've seen such stories previously as well. Well, where the place that they are at currently, that wasn't their first choice. उनका choice कुछ और था. And जब भी accident के साथ ये हो choice ले लेते हैं तो it's a really को बोलते हैं ना कि when the universe wants you to succeed, you will succeed, right? ये ऐसा वाला part हो जाता है. Wow. तो प्रखर, you told me that ये जो वायोलिन का जो होता है, वायोलिन इज एज टॉल एज अ नॉर्मल पर्सन इज, राइट? लाइक कितना होता है हाइट कितना होता है एक वायोलिन का?
I have a violin, I'll just show you. It's actually this size.
Okay. No, you talked about the violin that is as tall as you, right? जो बड़ा वाला होता है.
I was 6 years old. तो उस टाइम पे तो it was like very small for me.
Okay. I thought वो जो कभी भाई पता है वो टाइटैनिक में देखा है एक वो जो जब शिप डूब रहा होता है वो वाला इक्विपमेंट.
So actually string instruments में there are 4 basic major ones. One is the violin, which is the smallest actually. Then there's a viola, which is a little big, and as जैसे जैसे आपका size बढ़ता है ना, the scale at which you are playing, the octave reduces automatically. So then after the viola comes the cello, and that cello is the one which is played like this.
Okay.
And उसके भी ऊपर एक होता है double bass, and that is actually almost 1.5 times of a height of a normal person, around 9 feet.
Oh, okay.
So that is
Wow.
actually very, very big.
Right. So the violin is a very small instrument. And what is it made up of? Like wood, yeah, kuch or special type of wood? You have any idea?
So majorly, the quality of a violin is actually dependent on the quality of the wood from which it has been made. So,
Okay.
like majorly the German violins which are made are of very high quality wood, and because of which also they are demanding that, like, the price, the most expensive violinists can go to millions of dollars actually, and they are known as Stradivarius violins. So they have been made by one of the violinists, Antonio Stradivari, and he had made those violins in the 16th century, and they are like still going on till now, and they are like very expensive, and their wood quality has, and the wood quality of the violin, if it is maintained well, then it also improves over time. So it's just like wine.
Oh, wow. I never knew that violins could go up to millions of, dollars or euros, whatever the price that is available in. And in India, ये violin, if you have any idea, violin कौन से wood से बनता है? Like teak wood, same, sandalwood, क्या क्या होता है? कौन से wood से?
No, I really have
If you
not
have.
there.
Okay, no problem. It's okay. Right. So, okay, okay, violin is. What else is a fun fact about violin that will be interesting for non-violin players to know?
I think one of the biggest thing here is that um the violin is actually tough to learn in the beginning, but once you get the hold of it in like, if you're able to play the octaves and everything, after that it becomes very interesting to play, which is very different from a piano or keyboard, a piano or guitar, where even when you start in a week's time only, you can play at least something, because of which you get the interest of learning it more and more. That is the only thing which is not here, which is not the case here.
Okay.
And here actually violin is made of actually three major components which is there. One is the violin itself, the second is the bow, which is used to play on the strings. So the friction between these two is actually where the sound comes out, and that is then finally resonated by the hollow box which is there in between the violin. So that is the key.
Mm-hmm.
But that friction, actually the bow is made of horse tail hair, and it is
But
very smooth actually.
what is horse tail head?
Tail hair, मतलब जो
Tail
tail जो,
hair. Okay. Okay.
हाँ,
Hair. I thought I heard
that is
hair. Okay.
so it is either made of that or carbon strings which are there. Some strings are made of carbon. So there what happens is that they are very smooth. So actually that friction does not happen from that. So there is another sticky substance called a rosin in between, which is applied before playing, which actually gets that friction. So it's actually the mixture of these three things which finally creates the voice which is there.
Okay, wow, that's a lot of technicalities of the violin, and now
Yeah.
people who don't know will have some understanding of it. Now, Prakhar, you told me that in school you were really good, you won the competition and everything. And what lies ahead next when you went to college? How much were you able to manage the violin? एंड देखो कॉलेज में जब जाते हैं राइट इतने सारे कल्चरल फेस्ट होते हैं इंट्रा कॉलेज फेस्ट होते हैं इंटर कॉलेज फेस्ट होते हैं विच इज लाइक अ ग्रेट opportunity for artists like you to perform. So where in which competitions did you perform as well?
So actually, generally when you talk about a CA, so generally what happens is they tend to go into a college which is like somewhat a dummy college, like exam day, and we are got done with it. But since I was into music also, I did not want to go into that perspective. So what I did was I joined Nasimunji College, and there in Mumbai. So there actually what I did was I actually started performing a lot, but in the first year, because of some work pressure, I was not really able to do that. But from the second year, I made an active choice ki nahi, kuch bhi karke we have to continue this passion of mine, because the college time is actually where, as you said, the competition and all give us a lot of opportunities to artists to actually get on the performing, and they give a platform to us. So then we actually made a band in college also, and we went on to performing in IIT Bombay, SP Jain. Um,
Oh,
in Mumbai University, I actually played a solo and actually won on the university level. So everything was like going really good. But another thing was that I was living in a CA hostel, which was exclusively for CA finalists, RVG
hmm,
hostel, which is there in Mumbai.
hmm.
So there the culture of music, although there were good people who were very much interested in music, but there was not
Hmm.
actually a platform or some guidance as to how we can come together and perform as a group together. And in my college, everyone was from very established hostels like Jain hostel and everything. So there they already had a lot of musical performances and everything happening. So I thought that nahi, RVG is not lower than this, and we'll go on and
Hmm.
perform like very good places. And so धीरे धीरे करके we went together, and finally एक performance सिर्फ 5 लोगों से we gave a performance in our annual function which is there. And that is the place when embarked the spark of music in RVG. And after which we actually got a lot of people जो कि they started showing their interest कि नहीं, we also want to perform with you. And so
Hmm.
धीरे धीरे करके we became a band of around 20 people, and we named it Chartered Accountants Love Music, CALM, which is the
Calm. Hmm.
short form of that. So,
Right.
and we went on to perform like in crowds of 3,000 people and all. So it was like
Wow.
a really great journey from that side, that
Hmm.
something was created by us which was loved by more than thousands of people.
Wow, that's an amazing thing, man. And I'm glad that you did not leave violin and made a conscious decision as to you don't want to leave violin. Because क्या होता है कि I had one friend of mine, right? And this is his experience I'm sharing with you. When he was in IPCC at a like exam appear नहीं किया था classes के time. He had joined violin class. Probably I think he used to go to car or वो time वो वाले area में. And he did for around probably a few weeks and then he left. So even and I know it is not my personal loss over here, but I kind of felt very disappointed that he left something. Because see, agar violin itna jo instrument hai which is so soulful, right? If you're leaving that, I mean, I don't get it that in which direction you like life में कुछ balance चाहिए होता है, right? हर किसी को कि पूरा time काम 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 तो कोई कर नहीं सकता. So
Very true.
even though I wasn't learning violin, when he left, मैं मुझे थोड़ा दुख हुआ था कि यार इसने violin छोड़ दिया करके. And that is, and it's not only his case as well. CA के टाइम पे ऐसा होता ही है. You must have also noticed कि काफी सारे लोगों की ना काफी सारी जो हॉबीज होती है वो छूट जाती है, right?
Definitely.
I'll tell my personal experience. I was a football player, right? I was in the school football team. I was also in the junior college का football team 11 12 में. And then the moment I started pursuing CA, भाई वो सीए वो फुटबॉल का जो एफ होता है वो कभी निकल गया पता ही नहीं चला. And I remember I did not play football for 3 years between 2015 and 2018. It was only
Okay.
when I thought ke, when I decided to change my stream from a CA to becoming a lawyer in 2018 November. No, October, I still remember October 22. That was the first time I played football after 3.5 years. So
Mm.
it's so much intense and people get lost in that. And people I think feel a void also on this कि मेरे से कुछ छूट गया, right?
Mm.
कुछ भी होने दे, violin, football होने दे, किसी और का कुछ और होने दे, it leaves a void कि यार इतना अच्छा हॉबी था मेरे से छूट गया, अभी मेरे से हो नहीं रहा है. So I think my
Actually, it's like जैसे कि like in a profession like CA or LLB everywhere, अगर आप it's sure कि आप अभी नहीं तो कभी ना कभी CA बन जाओगे, lawyer बन जाओगे, सब बन जाओगे. But the thing which is distinguishing you from others is actually the hobbies and the creative side of things which you are actually pursuing with that. So like
correct.
मुझे शायद से लोग प्रखर के नाम से कम जानते हैं, लेकिन वो CA जो वायलिन है बजाता है वो वाले से ज्यादा जानते हैं. It
Yes,
happens
yes,
actually.
yeah, 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 I get that, right, right. वो जो एक्स्ट्रा जो होता है ना वो that is always एक्स्ट्रा क्या बोलते हैं
वो आपका बन जाता है एक
पॉइंट होता है
पर्सनालिटी.
ना या एक्स्ट्रा पॉइंट
हाँ,
that becomes your USP, right?
एग्जैक्ट.
And it's I think my advice would be that no matter what course you're doing, no matter where you are, don't leave your hobby that you have been inculcating since childhood. वो कुछ भी होना था, किसी के लिए डांस भी हो सकता है. At least take 1 hour out of your life to do that, because then it's a very difficult phase to live in that space. Now, Prakhar, and of course, abhi to people know you with violin as well. कि CA जो violin बजाता है. But if there are a few followers who watch Prakhar के प्रवचन, तो उनको भी वो the name is similar, exactly the same name.
प्रखर
तो
गुप्ता दोन पूरा.
Prakhar Gupta, yeah, right. तो ये जो how difficult was it for you to change the scene in RVG where you used to, live? Because I know it is a very CA centric college, right? तो वहां पे ये इतना बड़ा चेंज लाना कि हम लोगों को स्ट्रेस फ्री करेंगे वायलिन के थ्रू या म्यूजिक के थ्रू, हाउ डिफिकल्ट वाज इट फॉर यू टू डू दैट?
So actually the people in RVG are the best thing about RVG is the people there. वहाँ पे ऐसा है कि despite of having so many classes to do and the work hours are also like very chaotic. Even after that, everyone is like very much interested to do something extra. It could be organizing events which are there. It could be pursuing other things as well which they want to do. So already we were having a lot of events happening in stock market things. Stock market simulations are there. An annual function, informal annual function other than the annual function which is hosted by the hostel itself. So at that side everything was there. The main issue was that there was no particular I would say someone who is actually bringing everyone together so that we can actually collectively do something. And the major issue that was because no one was having something ki 30-20 लोग जो है वो साथ में बैठ करके कभी कुछ परफॉर्म कर पाएंगे, because no one was having that common time जिसमें कि everyone is free. तो उस कारण से we first made a core of around 5 to 6 people. So वहाँ पे we started conceptualizing that how we should make the performance go. तो वो conceptualization brainstorming करके एक बार जो थोड़ा एक structure बना, और फिर हमने एक जो परफॉर्मेंस दिया उसके बाद में everyone came in. उनको सबको इंटरेस्ट आया कि नहीं यार, this is the place जहाँ से कि हम अच्छे परफॉर्मेंसेस कर सकते हैं. दिस इज वेयर द क्वालिटी परफॉर्मेंस विल कम इनटू प्लेस. सो फिर सबको ऑल्दो इकट्ठा करा, बट फिर ऐसा है कि सिर्फ वीकेंड्स पे बैठने का टाइम मिल रहा है. उसमें भी ऐसा है कि वीकेंड्स पे समवन हैज सम अदर प्लान, समवन हैज सम अदर प्लान. सो जो चीज अगर मैं एक नॉर्मल कॉलेज गोइंग स्टूडेंट्स के साथ में करता तो मुझे हो सकता है कि सिर्फ मैं एक महीने के अंदर वो एक 30 मिनट्स का हमने कॉन्सर्ट परफॉर्मेंस बनाया था, सो दैट वो एक महीने के अंदर हो जाता. हियर इट टुक अराउंड 4 to 5 months टू डू दैट. एंड उस टाइम पे मेरी स्टडीज तो बंद हो गई थी, बिकॉज एटलीस्ट देयर हैड टू बी समवन जो कि एवरी टाइम ही इज गाइडिंग एंड डूइंग समथिंग, हेल्पिंग अदर्स की जो परफॉर्मेंस होने वाला है उसको उस लेवल का क्वालिटी परफॉर्मेंस बनाना है. तो sometimes that active decision of making that choice is there, which I had made that time.
Wow, great man. Again, I'm really glad that you continued your violin. Now, you after you formed a group of 20 people, वो बड़ा group जो था, where did you get a chance to perform and in big theaters or in huge crowds? कहाँ पे perform किया था ये? And what was the
So
occasion?
it was actually a national conference in Thane, which was hosted by ICI itself. There we had made a performance. Other than that, there is a cultural fest which happens Agas in RVG itself. So there it's like लोग वहाँ पे आ रहे हैं, तो they are actually waiting for our performance to come. So there we had made like appearances. And उसके साथ साथ में another online fest was there, Meraki करके. It was also hosted by CA students. So there we had made a performance. And apart from that, on a core the core 4-5 people which we were there, so we had made performances in other places also. Like in IIT Bombay we had gone. So there I had played a Jugalbandi with one of my CA friends only, and we came second there. And some other places also.
And at a solo level, you have performed at IIT Bombay, and where else you have performed?
So actually, I played on All India Radio also 2 nights.
Oh wow! So tell me
And
about it. All India Radio के बारे में बताओ कि how did you get there and how was your experience and feedback क्या था लोगों का? Now I know you are a great violin player. मैंने वो Instagram के reels से देखा. But back then when I did not know you, वो time पे कैसा था?
so at that time, actually, I was not very much into social media and not on Instagram. But that time, I was since I was in Delhi College, so it actually is one of those schools जो कि काफी promote करता है into all these cultural things. So like I told, like 10th class में when I got first in that nationals. So after that, a lot of things happened, and then I eventually also became the cultural prefect of our school. And all during this time we performed on a lot of national platforms and also on a college inter-school level which was there. So I had actually come on the podium position on three consecutive years. And during this time, the school also gave us the opportunity to perform on All India Radio, Akashvani All India Radio. So
Oh
we
wow.
actually performed an orchestra there, which was some Rag Mishra Pilu, which is there some like in Hindustani classical side of things. So we had
Hmm.
performed that, and then Jugalbandi also had performed with one of my friend. If you have seen my Instagram reels, then you would have seen that one person always comes up with me,
Yeah,
Abhishek
yeah,
Bal.
yeah.
So we
Right.
both had given that Jugalbandi together, performed that Jugalbandi together there.
Uh-huh.
So that was.
Wow. All right. So you have performed at All India Radio as well twice. Wow, amazing man. Do they like now frequently call you to play once in a while? ऐसा कुछ हुआ है कि इतना अच्छा relation बन गया है? Yeah, it was just only the two times that you have played.
सो ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पे तो उसके बाद से सिंस आई हैड शिफ्टेड टू अ न्यू सिटी मुंबई, तो
Hmm.
वहां से फिर वो चीज तो नहीं हुई. बट देन
Hmm.
यूनिवर्सिटी लेवल पे आई हैड एक्चुअली केम फर्स्ट इन दैट माय सोलो परफॉर्मेंस. सो आफ्टर दैट
Hmm.
हमारा नेशनल्स का चल रहा था. बट देन उसके
Hmm.
बाद नेशनल्स का चलते चलते इट हैपेंड दैट कि सीए की स्टडीज थोड़ी इफेक्ट हो रही थी, तो फिर वो चीज फिर
Hmm.
मैंने कैंसिल कर दी उस टाइम पे. तो थोड़ा तो देयर इज मिक्स ऑफ बोथ वो जो आपको करना पड़ता ही है.
Right. So when you say that studies थोड़ी इफेक्ट हो रही थी, मतलब you weren't studying as per rank लाने के लिए, या I mean you weren't
स्टडीज ही
studying
नहीं
as
हुई,
well. हाँ.
हो ही नहीं रही थी स्टडीज एक्चुअली में.
Okay, but yet you managed to get ranks in CPT and final.
तो एक्चुअली कोविड हेल्प मी एट दैट फाइट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम कि फाइनल्स के टाइम पे फिर ऐसा हो गया कि एनी परफॉर्मेंसेस आई एम डूइंग दैट्स ऑन एन ऑनलाइन बेसिस. कॉलेज जो
अच्छा.
है, जो अभी तक अटेंडेंस काफी स्ट्रिक्ट था, वो अब ऐसा हो गया कि ठीक है ऑनलाइन चल रहा है. एंड
हम्म.
तो एवरीथिंग केम इन प्लेस एंड उस कारण से स्टडीज हो गई एंड रैंक आ गई.
ओह वाह. नो, ये कॉलेज की बात हो गई. फाइनल का यू ऑलरेडी टोल्ड. आर्टिकलशिप जो पीरियड होता है, व्हिच इज द टफेस्ट पार्ट, वेयर यू हैव टू स्टडी, यू हैव टू वर्क, यू हैव टू आल्सो गो टू क्लासेस, राइट?
हम्म.
तो वो टाइम पे कैसे मैनेज किया कि ये वायोलिन अभी भी कंटिन्यू करना है? डिड यू यूज्ड टू परफॉर्म एट दैट पॉइंट इन टाइम एज वेल?
So actually, during that time only we made this calm band. I actually won in on the university level, and then we performed in IIT Bombay, SP Jain, Narsimunji College, MITI, everywhere actually. Whatever fest was there, we were there. That was the time there. So that actually happened like that only. That office while actually in office I had during my first year I had actually worked so much that I had good time and good relations, and technically I was like sound that कि जो काम बाकी सब लोग 7 घंटे 8 घंटे में कर रहे हैं, I am doing that in 3-4 hours 5 hours. So and
वाह.
the team was also there which was supporting me in that particular per se thing. तो फिर उस कारण से ये हो गया था कि sometimes I am coming late to office, कभी जल्दी जा रहे हैं, so they were tolerant of that particular thing, and उस कारण से वो हो भी गया. And
वाह.
starting में जो the major trouble which happens is in finding the people to make a band, और वो चीज हमने एक बार जब कर ली, उसके बाद में then giving the performances is like a cakewalk then. Not a cakewalk, but it's easy as
It's
compared
easy,
to.
right? Wow. So all throughout you, great man. That's such an amazing journey to listen to. के कुछ भी वो violin छोड़ा नहीं. Now, Prakhar, what is now that you are a professional violin player? Now, should I say professional, or you're still in the phase where you're learning? Because when is it that a player can call himself or herself a professional guitar or violin player in your case?
So actually in violin, it's always a lot of discovery which is left. And I am at a very lower stage of that discovery, I would say. Because
Okay.
when I see violinists all around the world, they are actually having such technical skills which definitely requires that amount of full-time practice which is there. Which I am not doing right now. So although I can say myself as a junior professional violinist, I won't say that I am someone जो कि ठीक है अब हो गया. So
हाँ हाँ हाँ.
learning phase will never ever go down, especially in the instrument like violin. There is
हाँ.
actually 24 caprices which had been like written by one of the very famous violinists, Paganini. So each and every caprice which is there is an expert. It shows an expertise in one of the very intricate techniques of violin, uh, which is there. So that has been actually been so there are at least 24 caprices, and this was like around 200-300 years back. And after that also there are a lot of discoveries which are being made on the violin. So
Hmm.
that is definitely something I'm just uh, on the
Okay.
Indian side of things. ठीक है, मतलब I can say myself a
Mm-hmm.
western में तो फिर ज्यादा हो जाएगा.
या राइट। तो नहीं मतलब इसका मतलब क्या है कि वेस्टर्न स्टाइल में इतना टाइम लगे और इंडियन स्टाइल में ज्यादा, मतलब दोनों
एक्चुअली
कंट्रीज का स्टाइल अलग है क्या?
बहुत अलग है. इंडियन इंडियन म्यूजिक में जो वायलिन बज रहा है दैट इज मेजरली ऑन द मेलोडी साइड, ऑन द एक मुर्कियाँ होती हैं जो कि रहती हैं वायलिन में. सो ऑन दैट पॉइंट ऑफ थिंग्स वायलिन का यहाँ पे लिमिटेड हो जाता है. वेस्टर्न में बिकॉज एक्चुअली इन वायलिन इज एक्चुअली अडॉप्टेड फ्रॉम वेस्टर्न इंडिया टू इंडियन एज एन इंडियन इंस्ट्रूमेंट. ओरिजिनली वो एक
ओके।
वेस्टर्न इंस्ट्रूमेंट ही था. तो
अच्छा।
वहां पे जो टेक्निक्स हैं उसमें कॉर्ड्स, एक्चुअली वी कैन प्ले कॉर्ड्स ऑन द वायलिन. साथ साथ में बहुत सारी टेक्निक्स हैं जो कि वायलिन की, स्टैकाटो हो गया, लिगाटो हो गया, एंड वेरी वेरी इंट्रिकेट टेक्निक्स आर देयर. यू कैन एक्चुअली प्ले द
हम्म।
वायलिन बाय प्लकिंग द strings also instead of playing on the bow.
ओह।
So that
ओह
is
वाओ।
pizzicato which is there, a technique which is there.
Oh damn. So I mean it looks really simple, the violin as an instrument, but jitna you have described so far, I have come to realize that it's very complicated, because if you're able to play with pulling just the string, तो वो भाई instrument कुछ अलग ही बना है.
There is so much discovery which is still being made. I think so that
अच्छा.
what we can do on violin, like earlier it was just Western classical, then it was
हम्म,
incorporated in India in Carnatic music. So the Carnatic violin style had come into place, and
हम्म,
after that, then in Hindustani classical also it came into place. Then it went on with the with the vibratos which are there. It went into the Bollywood music also, and after that in Western side also you can actually play proper chords, like you are holding it as a guitar and you are playing it, and that's the fiddle style of violin which is being made. So everyone,
हम्म.
the violin is such diverse and such that it comes in every culture which is there, be it like very old Western classical, Indian classical, or in the newer styles also, like in Bollywood music or in Western fiddle instruments also. So it is very
Okay.
diverse. You can do a lot of things in violin. It's just a matter
Mhm.
of how do you perceive that what can be played on the violin.
Right. And this 24 that you talked about, the 24
Appreciate.
styles of apprentices, तो ये मतलब कंट्री के हिसाब से है या it is just
नहीं नहीं.
one person who has
It is,
discovered के अच्छा है कुछ ऐसा?
so Paganini was actually a very great violinist, I would say, and उन्होंने धीरे धीरे करके ही made these 24 caprices in his lifetime.
So वही caprices का मतलब क्या है? Is it a style or is it what is that caprices?
Caprice is like if you're into one technique, so the
हाँ.
toughest you can play, if you have mastered a particular technique, then
हाँ.
you can play this particular caprice. It is like that.
Okay, it's like a technique. Caprice means technique. Okay.
Caprice is
Right.
like the professional CA final level of that particular technique.
Oh wow. Okay, that नाइस। तो प्रखर, ये जो वायोलिन जिसे सीखना होता है, राइट नाउ, इज देयर लाइक एन इंस्टीट्यूट और अ कॉलेज दैट टीचेस? बिकॉज क्या होता है कि जस्ट about a month ago I had recorded an episode with a professional Kathak player and a dancer, and she told me कि yes, there is like a college where you can go and you have to like rigorously practice. 8 to 10 hours of practice goes into doing that Kathak. तो ऐसा कुछ है कोई इंस्टीट्यूट जहाँ पे सीखने जाता है, या इट इज वो वन ऑन वन जो प्रोफेसर सिखाते हैं वही ऐसे ही होता है?
So definitely there are institutes which would be there, but what I feel is that violin ऐसा इंस्ट्रूमेंट है जिसमें कि स्टार्टिंग में आपके पास में इतनी सारी चीजें हैं that are taking place together, that unless you get that one on one interaction, उसके बिना it becomes tough, at least in the beginning stages. So
हम्म.
there are online classes also which are happening, and there are one on one online classes also, one on one group classes also online happening, and apart from that there are normal institutes also which do that, and there are one on one guru system which is also there. So I
ओ.
feel that at least when you are starting, then playing with a particular maestro of violin on a face to
हम्म.
face basis makes much more sense. because if you hold the bow wrong, or if your left hand wrist movements are wrong, or you are not placing your violin properly, or when you are playing you are not moving the bow properly or at a proper place, each and everything which is there, this cannot be corrected on on an impersonal level. So that is the place where, if these techniques are corrected at the beginning, it's very easy, because violin is nothing but a game of muscle memory. अगर आपने एक तरह से बजाना चालू कर दिया एंड वो गलत है, तो फिर आपको वो याद रहेगा ना, उसको चेंज
Correct.
करना विल वेरी टफ लेटर ऑन.
Correct. So, if somebody were to start violin, obvious, तो ये कितने time में you can say that you have learned violin very well? Like 2 साल डाला, 3 साल डाला. What is the time span within which you can say that that the person can play violin very well?
So I would say that the most troublesome phase which is there in the violin is the initial stage. अगर आप
Hmm.
initial के 2 से 3 महीने आप निकाल देते हो, in which you are actually able to play the, मतलब you are able to listen to your own violin. अगर वो phase तक आ गए हो, because finally what happens is in the beginning violin बहुत screech कर रहा है, तो आपको पसंद ही नहीं, you do not like, you do not want to actually play that, and you are saying that
Correct.
I can never do that. वो उस phase की चीज रहती है. अगर वो फेज एक बार निकल जाता है, आप एक सरगम बजाना चालू कर देते हो, सारे गम पद निसा, तो
Hmm.
वहां से फिर इट बिकम्स अ लिटिल इजी, दैट एटलीस्ट
Hmm.
यू आर प्लेइंग समथिंग व्हिच समवन एल्स कैन अंडरस्टैंड. और फिर
Hmm.
वहां
Hmm.
से आप धीरे धीरे एक राग सीख जाते हो, और वहां से फिर
Hmm.
जब आप जाते हो तो इट बिकम्स इजियर. I actually was playing violin on a regular when I was like in 7 or 8 years, 9 years old. So at that time when I was learning, I was playing violin 1 hour regularly for 6 months. Or in those 6 months, जो 1 hour
Every
regularly
day,
करा,
every day, all
every
180
day,
days,
all
all
180,
180
not
days.
like not
Wow.
180 days, but Monday to Saturday, you can say, like that.
हाँ मतलब तो भी it is a regular thing only, like every day कर. Wow, that's a great, that dedication, great man.
वायलिन में डेडिकेशन बहुत जरूरी हो जाता है इन द बिगिनिंग, बिकॉज अगर आप जैसे कि सिर्फ हफ्ते में एक बार बजा रहे हो ना, तो यू वोंट बी एबल टू डेवलप दैट मसल मेमोरी. इट्स जस्ट लाइक आप जिम में
हम्म.
जा रहे हो, ऐसा नहीं कि आप जिम में एक बार चलेगा 6 घंटे एंड इट्स डन, फिर अगले अगले
हम्म.
हफ्ते नेक्स्ट नेक्स्ट दिन एक दिन में 6 घंटे करेंगे. इट्स अ पीरियड, इट्स अ प्रोसेस. बिकॉज अगर वायलिन आप देखा जाए तो वाई इज इट सो टफ, बिकॉज उसमें वो मसल मेमोरी बनाना पड़ता है कि द वायलिन विच यू आर प्लेइंग, तो आपके जो गिटार में कैसा होता है दैट वो एक फ्रेट है, तो वो फ्रेट के बीच में आप कभी भी प्ले कर रहे हो, एनी वेयर यू प्ले द टोन, द व्हाट आई से द नोट विल बी द सेम. लेकिन वायलिन में
हम्म.
आपने अगर यहाँ पे एक जगह स्ट्रिंग पे रखा, उससे थोड़ा सा भी आपने वन थोड़ा सा भी मिलीमीटर भी इधर उधर कर दिया ना, तो उसका
हम्म.
पूरा वो नोट कंसरा हो जाएगा, थोड़ा सा चेंज हो जाएगा उसका टोन.
ओके.
सो एग्जैक्ट पोजिशनिंग उसकी कैसी है, दैट इज नथिंग बट अ
हम्म.
गेम ऑफ मसल मेमोरी. और वो चीज जो है
हम्म.
वो विद प्रैक्टिस आएगी और धीरे धीरे आएगी.
राइट. तो I would like to share my personal experience over here. ये जो मसल मेमोरी वाला जो काम है, ठीक है, it is something that it comes with discipline. That's definitely true. But it's my experience has been so I am a certified horse rider. Okay, anywhere I go around the world, people can give me their horses to ride and they won't have a problem. And कैसा होता है अभी कि अगर मैंने हॉर्स राइडिंग किया भी नहीं हो 1 महीने में, ऐसा कुछ है, बिकॉज क्लासेस में इतना सारा कर लिया था. द मोमेंट यू सेट ऑन द हॉर्स नाउ, जो भी बॉडी पार्ट्स जो जहाँ पे लॉक होने चाहिए, राइट, वो ऑटोमेटिकली फिर अपने आप लॉक हो जाते हैं, एंड देन यू आर एबल टू राइड इट वेरी वेल. सो दैट इज समथिंग आई डू अंडरस्टैंड कंप्लीटली कि एक बार मसल मेमोरी सेट हो जाता है ना ये सब चीजों में, एट एनी गिवन पॉइंट इन टाइम, रात को 3 बजे भी जगा के बोला कि चल ये करके बता, तो वो हो जाता है फिर अपने आप. इट्स ग्रेट mental strength, good for mental strength as well. Now, Prakhar, I would like to ask you a personal question. You have already completed your CA, and I don't know if you intend to do your masters or not. But have you ever given it a thought कि ऐसा जो बाहर वाली जो यूनिवर्सिटीज होती है, जैसे बड़ी बड़ी जो हार्वर्ड, जैसे ऑक्सफोर्ड, कैम्ब्रिज, वो वाली यूनिवर्सिटीज है, एंड इवन इन अदर कॉलेजेस एज वेल, जिसका नाम मुझे पता नहीं, दे ऑफर कोर्सेज इन म्यूजिक, ऐसा फुल टाइम कोर्सेस इन म्यूजिक. तो डू यू हैव यू एवर गिवन इट अ थॉट कि चलो मैं ऑलरेडी इतना वायलिन प्लेयर अच्छा तो हूँ ही, तो लेट्स स्टडी द म्यूजिक इटसेल्फ.
So definitely that can be one place which I would look into. Right, not right now, because
Hmm.
currently it's actually I'm into both of the things, right? In the finance side of things also, and on the music side of things also. So
Hmm.
currently those priorities are not there. But yes, a
Hmm.
friend of mine, we actually were in school together, who were performing a lot together, and he actually went on to go to Full Sail University, which is in United States,
Hmm.
and he went to go into do the sound engineering course which is there. So now he's
Ah,
like professionally he's recording for everyone, for a lot of good people.
wow.
That is there, but currently I feel that music, for me, music is more like a trial and error kind of thing, and
Hmm.
like discovering it on your own, something like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Oh.
because and now since after a point of time, it's like you can learn most of these things on an online basis also, and
Hmm.
with the internet schools, with the internet school coming up so much, digital
Hmm.
education is there. I think so that music being such on a creative side, if you do not look into the technical point of things, then it becomes easy to pursue this further on your own also. And since it is
Hmm.
for me more of a hobby right now, so that particular master side of things I'm not looking into right now.
Okay, that's understandable. That's definitely people, you can decide while you're working or whenever you want to decide. Right. Now, Prakhar, abhi yaar, you are performed at so many places. RVG change kiya, college mein change kiya. You also one at Mood Indigo. Um, with obviously, I believe that you want to continue playing violin. And what is it that you want to do next with violin? Like कभी ऐसा सोचा है कि अभी मैं performances करना start करूँ, जैसे वो open nights कैसे होते हैं weekend पे clubs में वहाँ पे, या लोगों के शादियों में perform करना start किया in those lights.
So yes, the majorly the action plan here is that I first of all want to be active on Instagram and YouTube, so that my music is listened to by a lot of people, and
Hmm.
uske साथ साथ में performing on on these open mic stands and everything, along with getting paid performances with
Performances.
the restaurants and with the weddings also. So everything is
Hmm.
there in plan, but majorly there is um, one hindrance which is always there, is that CA is also alongside that. So
Yeah.
till the point I'm on a solo basis, it is easy. But
Yeah.
once you develop a band, then
Hmm.
the time commitment which is there, it definitely will be divided
Changes.
between these two.
Correct.
So right now it's a little bit, the solo side is actually on a very active phase, but the band side of things is on a wait and watch point of view.
Hmm. Right. No, I think, Prakhar, we have discussed everything that is to discuss, and you might have received these kind of questions on the regular basis. If you could perform a little bit on the podcast, it would be really great. Any song अभी जो latest जो भी trending है, पसूरी है या वो चांद वालिया है जो अपन
हाँ,
reels में देखते हैं, थोड़ा ऐसा कुछ बजा के ऐसा if you can show, then that will be a great end to this podcast.
definitely, definitely.
Wow, it's amazing, fantastic, lovely. मजा आ गया यार. I mean, this is the best ending to the conversation that I have done so far. अभी तक nearly मैंने 50 एपिसोड रिकॉर्ड किए हैं, बट ये 50 तो वैसे बेस्ट है यार. Great,
Thank you so.
fantastic.
Thank you, Manan.
Prakhar, thank you for accepting my invitation and coming on as a guest on this podcast. It was a pleasure to have you today, and to know your journey, to know your dedication towards the music, despite pursuing such a difficult course. It's commendable, and I wish you the best, man. Really great performance.
Thank you so much, Manan, for inviting me. It was a really, really wonderful conversation. And thank you so much.
Yeah.